Hey, what's happening, people? And welcome to another of my movie analysis, where I do a little documentary of films talking about productions, characters, stories, and what I love about each films. Grab yourselves a Wonka bar and maybe a golden ticket, as I'm going to start with the 1971 Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is where Charlie Bucket, who's sadly poor, gets a golden ticket from Wonka chocolate bar, so he visits the factory with other 4 kids around the world. So this movie is directed by Mel Stewart. When his daughter was 10 years old, she read the book and asked her dad to make the film with Uncle Dave, which is David L. Wolper, the producer, even though he wasn't related to the Stewarts. As he showed him the book, David was in the midst of talks with Quaker Oats Company, a vehicle to introduce a new sweet bar from its Chicago-based Breaker Confections subsidiary, which got renamed the Willy Wonka Candy Company and sold to Nestle, so he got the company to buy the rights. So David L. Wolper and Roald Dahl agreed to write the film. Although Roald Dahl wasn't to complete it, he only gave sections of the book, and if there was discussions whenever they should credit Roald Dahl for screenplay, because Mary Poppins and the Wizard of Oz got so popular, they made this movie into a musical. Richard Rodgers and Henry Mancini were to do the music, but they turned it down, so they got Leslie Bricusse and Anthony Newley to do it instead. David Seltzer created a theme with Wonka quote like Arthur Shaughnessy's ODE, Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, Samuel Taylor Coleridge is the rhyme of the ancient Mariana, and William Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice. Obviously there are some changes, like the title of this movie is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory instead of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But of course we got the 2005 remake, and there's gooses laying egg instead of squirrels cracking up the nuts out of the shells. Willy Wonka is a chocolatier who works in his own chocolate factory with Oompa Loompas helping him, and he's played by Gene Wilder. Before he got casted, there's actors were considered for the role: Fred Astaire, Joel Grey, Ron Moody, and Spike Milligan. Peter Sellers begged Roald Dahl for the role. Monty Python actors Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Terry Gilliam, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin were interested in the role. Did you know John Pertwee was also considered for the role? But I did think he turned it down as he was busy working on Doctor Who at the time. So in the end, Gene Wilder walked in and he got casted for one condition: to do a scene where he walks out of the door with a cane, look like he's injured, and having people think he's dying. As he stuck his cane, he does a somersault so no one will know if he's lying or telling the truth, which is brilliant. And I think Gene Wilder is fantastic as Willy Wonka, absolutely iconic and memorable. Wilder wanted changes the costume, which are the trousers, jacket and hat. The child actors had done acting experience for school play and commercials. Peter Ostrom played Charlie Bucket, who's nice, calm and a hero boy who lives with his parents and all 4 of his grandparents, who happens to be lucky getting the last golden ticket. And sadly, him and his family have barely any money and food to eat. Charlie in this film delivers newspaper, and I think Peter did a splendid job, and pity that's his only film role as he's working as a veterinarian. Grandpa Joe Bucket, played by John Albertson, who's Charlie's bedridden granddad, who tells Charlie's story about Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory and went with him to the factory. Fantastic casting. I love his chemistry with Charlie. Peter Ostrom said Jack was wonderful and became his mentor whilst filming, which is nice. Joe in this movie is excitable, bit of childlike, and can be paranoid. Diana Salt played Mrs. Bucket, Charlie's mum. She did sing for Cheer Up Charlie, however it was dubbed by Diana Lee.
Cheer up Charlie, give me a smile.
Apparently Charlie's father in this movie is already killed off, which is interesting what they're going for. Franziska Liebling, Dora Altman and Ernst Ziegler played Josephine, Georgina and George, Charlie's other bedridden grandparents. There's great casting. Apparently Ernst Ziegler, who played Grandpa George, was sort of blind by poison gas during World War I, so he had to look for the red light when he has to look at certain direction, which must be painful. Michael Bollner played Augustus Gloop, who's from Dusselheim, Germany, and he's greedy. He's the first person that found the golden ticket, as well as the first person removed from the tour team, as he fell into the chocolate river, got stuck into a pipe and got carried away to the fudge room.
He's done! He'll be made into marshmallows in 5 seconds.
Impossible, my dear lady. That's absurd. Unthinkable.
Thankfully, he was rescued in time. It was nice of Charlie trying to help him. Michael couldn't speak English well at the time, which is why he had quite a few lines and small scenes. And I think he did well, and so did Ursula Reed as Mrs. Gloop, Augusta's mother. Veruca Salt is a spoiled brat who demands, like she owns the world. And the second person who got the golden ticket, well, not really. It was Mr. Salt's workers that got it for her. Veruca is also the third person being removed from the tour, as in this movie she fell into the garbage chute that scans for golden eggs from gooses.
I want it now!
If they're good or bad eggs. Julie Dunn-Cole really nailed the role. In real life she's a nice actress, but in the movie as Veruca she's a nightmare, very bad-tempered.
You promised I'd have it the very first day! I won't talk to you ever again! You're a rotten, mean father, you'll never give me anything I want! And I won't go to school till I have it! I want it now! What's the matter with those twerps down there?
I can't tell you how stressed I would be if that was my child. Roy Kinnear played Mr. Salt, Veruca's dad, and that is great acting when he's so stressed about her daughter's tantrums. Denise Nickerson played Violet Beauregard, who's obsessed with chewing gum, and rude as well. Not as bad temper as Veruca. Third person who found the golden ticket, and second person being removed from the tour because she chewed new type gum that Willy Wonka was working on, which he hadn't got quite right yet. It has 3-course meal which is composed of tomato soup, roast beef and baked potato, and blueberry pie and ice cream. As a result, she turns into a giant blueberry, which is spooky, and apparently that scene was shot in the middle of the day, which leaves a time frame in between takes for lunch. Denise had to stay in that costume for that period of time and needed to be turned over several times to keep proper blood circulation. Violet has a best friend called Cornelia Prince-Metel. She shows off her chewing gum during the interview. I wonder what she's going to say to her after the blueberry incident. Hi Cornelius, I don't know what to say here. I got turned into a giant blueberry. Hey, I could call that an experiment because I could roll around and get flexible as I've been juiced. The power that you can never have. I gotta go. Leonard Stone plays Mr. Sam Beauregard, Violet's father. He's fantastic. I loved his lines like,
I got a blueberry for a daughter.
Until she goes to juicing room.
If ever you need anything in the automotive line, just call on Sam B. Phone number's on the card. With Sam B, it's a guarantee.
Hey, Sam B! Ha! This movie gave me a shout out. Gracie came out at least 27 years before I was born. And also, Jim Backus was considered for the role before it went to Leonard. Paris Thiemann plays Mike TV, who's addicted to television. He watches any films or programs that's got killings. He's pretty stubborn, but intelligent. Paris did an excellent job, and I heard he's a troublemaker. Mike is the fourth person who found the golden ticket and removed from the tour after he teleported himself into a special television, which made him tiny.
Nobody's gonna hear about this.
Where are you taking me? I don't want to go in there.
Dodo Denny played Mrs. TV, Mike's mum. She's great as well. Jean Stapleton was considered for the role, but she turned it down. Arthur Slugworth, who's supposed to be a villain, who worked for Willy Wonka, described as the worst spy by Grandpa Joe. He requests kids to get him everlasting gobstopper so he can find a secret formula.
Think it over, will you? A new house for your family. And good food and comfort for the rest of their lives.
Man, he was scary, and he's played by Gunter Meisner, but he's voiced by Walker Edmiston. Apparently his character is Mr. Wilkinson, who works for Wonka testing on children, and Charlie passed it. The actors really nailed it. David Batley played Mr. Turkentine, Charlie's teacher, with a strange sense of humour. I like him, I thought he's brilliant and entertaining.
No, certainly not. This is a very big wall.
Aubrey Woods played Bill, who owns the sweet shop and sings Candyman song at the beginning of the film.
Candyman and posse mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.
He's a wonderful actor and singer, and I think he's amazing in that, as well as the controller in Doctor Who Day of the Daleks. Sammy Davis Jr. and Anthony Newley wanted to play Bill, but Mel Stewart said no because he felt it would break the reality. We also have Oompa Loompas, who are small people who helped Willy Wonka run the factory. They're apparently mischievous, loving to play practical jokes and singing songs. They're rescued from the area called Loomperland because of the creatures like the Wangdoodles, Hornswogglers and the Snozzwangers. In the film they're orange with green hair and wearing overalls, and the actors playing them are Rudy Borgstaller, George Claydon, Malcolm Dixon, Rusty Goff, Ismet Hassan, Norman McGlenn, Angela Muscat, Pepe Poupe, Marcus Powell and Albert Wilkinson. And I think they did a great job, and the songs are so memorable.
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-doo, I've got a perfect puzzle for you.
Apparently, in the book, they resemble to African pygmies, which got criticised by a lot of people, including NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People, due to racism, and compared them to slavery. So Mel Stewart made Oompa Loompas in the film green and orange people, wearing striped shirts and baggy lederhosen-like trousers. I do love the intro. That was shot in Chocolate Factory at Switzerland. And I feel sorry for that girl who got smacked in the chin with a counter. And of course, accidents happen. When golden tickets in Wonka bars gets announced, things do get crazy, which I can imagine that happening in real life. I thought the computer scene was amusing.
Will tell us the precise location of the 3 remaining golden tickets. It says, I won't tell, that would be cheating.
That guy reminds me of the 5th Doctor played by Peter Davidson, which is awesome. I thought Mrs. Curtis's husband kidnapped story and psychology scene interesting, as well as the percentages of opening Wonka bars.
2? What do you mean you only opened 2?
I don't care very much for chocolate.
I just love the auction scene where the guy is like, £500? £5,000? Your Majesty. The first scene was shot was where Charlie is running with the golden ticket, bumped into a poor old lady. My favourite song in this movie has got to be I Got a Golden Ticket.
Never a happy song to sing, but suddenly half the world is mine. What an amazing thing. I never thought I'd see the day when I would face the world to say good morning. Look at the sun. I never dreamed that I would climb over the moon in ecstasy, but nevertheless it's there that I'm shortly about to be. I've got a golden ticket, I've got a golden chance to make my way.
There's a lot of stuff happening in the chocolate room. Where do I begin? The scene where people entered the room, their reactions were real because it was the first time seeing the room. The river was made of 150,000 gallons of water with real chocolate and cream. The cream made it red, the mixture was spoiled, and as a result it smelled really bad and described as dirty water. The musical code to open the door was the marriage of Figaro by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. The scene where Veruca was bashing a melon on the rock. If you look closer you can see blood on the tights, which is because Julie Dunn-Cole didn't know the rock was real and she hit her leg on it. Ouch, must be painful. And I think the scene where Wonka was eating a cup, it was made of wax. And it took a few takes because Gene understandably pulled his face, and the final shot, it wasn't long before he spat it out. And I do love the Pure Imagination song, it's pretty catchy.
And you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
I really get goosebumps in the boat scene.
Hang on, darling, close your eyes and hang on tight.
Like a bloke with a centipede crawling on his mouth, chickens' heads getting cut off, etc. And especially with Wonka shouting the danger must be growing.
A speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing. Are the fires of hell a-glowing?
Any signs that they are slowing?
Everyone freaked out. That was their real reaction, as they thought Gene Wilder has lost it. The meals on the table in the inventing room made me felt hungry. My favourite scene has got to be the fizzy lifting drink scene.
All right, Charlie, but please, be very careful.
Hey, it's fun, Grandpa, it worked!
It's a blast to watch, and pretty intense when they flow towards the fan. But at least they burped on the way down. the only way to go down is burp. The bit where giant Wonka bar gets transported into TV was pretty effective.
Lights, camera, action!
The scene where Willy Wonka ranting about stealing fizzy lifting drinks.
Stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Jack and Peter didn't realise that Wonka was supposed to shout because in the rehearsal Gene said it calmly. Wow. The room where furniture is in half, Mel Stewart thought it would make the room look more like Wonka-esque, as he can't bear the idea of the whimsical and creative rooms in the factory with an ordinary office. And I do love the great glass elevator scene.
Hold on, everybody. Here it comes.
It ended pretty well with Wonka being the father-like to Charlie, and I really love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It is my favourite musical film alongside School of Rock, if it counts. I watched this movie a lot when I was little. To those who haven't seen it, you need to check it out. It is timeless. And they barely showed vehicles in this movie because the director didn't want this movie to be dated. Sadly, Roald Dahl didn't like this film, which is why there's no great glass elevator. But the movie was a success, and it's definitely a movie that the whole family can enjoy. There's also a remake 34 years later directed by Tim Burton and starring Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, which I do love that film as well. I also enjoy the Wonka movie with Timothée Chalamet. I thought it was a fantastic prequel. The next Roald Dahl adaptation to talk about is Danny, the Champion of the World.